No! No! I don't want to do this! No! Hi everyone, I'm Generator, I'm a gamer, and I'm addicted to fantasy— No! Let me go back! No! Phantasy Star Online 2 was a game that I didn't know I was looking forward to. I told my friend one day, hey, you know what I wish they would make? A more contemporary or sci-fi Diablo-style game that was played in either first or third person. And he said that would be Phantasy Star Online 2. I looked up the game only to be disappointed that there wasn't an American release, or at least not yet. Down the years I ended up forgetting about its existence, and then it's here. And it's probably a good thing I forgot about it too, because I would have been locked away in a psych ward by now from all the waiting. The thing is, this entire time, I didn't realize that American users were actually playing the Japanese version with the aid of PSO2 Tweaker, an alternative launcher to the original game that, among other things, patched the game to English. Unfortunately, with the decision to make the PC English release on the absolutely horrible and unreliable Windows Store, it's still the best way to play the game, as it currently fixes a lot of bugs that Sega and/or Microsoft haven't gotten around to yet, such as installation issues as well as an obscene amount of lag in the game's lobby. Since the game is free, and still requires an Xbox Live account to actually play the game, this fortunately hasn't created any issues. After all, Tweaker has been around for years, and so far to my knowledge, no legal action has ever taken place. Had I known all of this, I would have played the game a long time ago. So this is my first time playing the game, and this is going to be my first impression on it. PSO2 is an open— Get away from me! No! PSO2 is an open-world multiplayer dungeon crawler with a sci-fi flashy anime setting. Of course, with anime, I guess being flashy is a given. Players run around randomly generated maps, completing objectives and random events that pop up, alongside other players. Weapons and armor that players pick up are also random, giving different modifiers such as elemental resistances or damage types. Simply put, it's a Diablo clone. I would be hard-pressed to call it an MMO, as it is the highest number of players you can see on any given map is 12, minus the central hub. But it does share other traits of one, like dailies, crafting, microtransactions, as well as an optional sub. Yeah, sorry, that's all here too. But even with all the changes I have yet to mention, all of that wouldn't be enough to hold my interest in yet another Diablo clone for very long. The one key difference that this game has that many other Diablo clones lack is that it is not played from an isometric perspective, instead opting for a third-person camera or over-the-shoulder cam. It's the same reason that my interest was killed in Minecraft Dungeons when it was revealed that it was played from an isometric camera. I was looking forward to a game with the same world generation of Minecraft, which in my opinion is still the best among any game that has that sort of thing, but having the game more focused on combat. But without the ability to, actually see the world right in front of me, it just killed the immersion for me and leaves me feeling like I'm just moving a game piece on a tabletop. I might as well just play Diablo. The world is no Minecraft, but it is infinite and randomly generated, and it's played from the third-person perspective. So we're going good. That's 2 out of 3. The game is in no way stingy when it comes to its visuals, with its bright, vivid colors and making boss fights feel epic. I mean, just look at this! Look at this! Sega is definitely not subtle when it comes to boss fights with this game. So far, I fought everything from giant beasts to dragons, a frickin' dreadnought that shoots lasers with a robot mounted on top of it, and emergency! This thing. These are just bosses that you fight on a normal basis, let alone the raids that you can get into that require no prior setup. You can just jump right in when it's available. You can choose between 4 races and 9 classes, the latter which your character can switch to at any time. For whatever reason though, only 6 of them can be picked at character creation, with the other 3 available once you're in the game. Upon reaching level 20, you can choose a subclass, which adopts a part of that class's stats, as well as being able to use that class's skills, in addition to your main ones. Although this part confuses the hell out of me, because you can only use your main class's weapons, and as far as I know, all skills require said weapon. There is something about multi-class weapons, but I haven't dived into that yet. In fact, I'm pretty sure I'm missing something. Combat is done in real time, And this is where the game truly shines. There's no cooldown in between attacks, only requiring PP, the game's mana, to perform them, while using your normal attacks to quickly regain it. Once you get into the groove of things, the game tends to resemble a thankfully much easier Devil May Cry more than your typical dungeon crawler, but there is a certain momentum that you need to get into when chaining attacks together. As tempting as it is to just go nuts and mash the button away, you can deal extra damage if you time your attacks with a red glow that your character emanates with every attack. And as silly as this sounds, this even goes for classes that use guns. Which leads to the shoulder camera. By default, you'll be using the third-person cam, which enables you to log on to enemies, and leaves the camera stationary, regardless of where your character is facing. This is common for games that don't have any manual aiming required, but if you played any amount of shooter games, this does tend to make using a gun feel awkward, and in fact downright mandatory to switch to for attacks such as the grenade launcher, allowing you to fire in between targets to attack the entire group. On the other hand, if you can never get used to it, the standard cam can be useful too, such as being able to track enemies that move really fast, or when using attacks that fire a lot, as you will auto-target enemies nearby as soon as one dies. This is essentially making you Robocop if you was ever looking for Senpai.
Shit. This guy is really good.
He's not a guy, he's a machine.
Armor in this game is not traditional armor that you can visibly see your character wearing. Instead, they all kind of float around your character's limbs or back. Personally, I haven't come across any of these that don't just look gaudy, but thankfully, there is an option to hide them using the Engage the armor's stealth.
Engage.
The clothing that your character does wear can be customized, and when I say customized, I mean it's practically the game's livelihood. This game is all about massacring hordes of monsters and looking cool while doing it, but the game does make you pay for that latter half. As does many games with an anime style to it, the game has a wealth of options when it comes to fashion, ranging from trench coats, elegant dresses, wedding outfits, to even dressing up as certain anime or video game characters. The problem is how to actually get these items. The game has an alarming amount of different microtransaction stores. That's right, I said stores, and trying to make heads or tails on how they all work together is a mess. You got the Fresh Find Shop, the AC Shop, the SG Shop, the Scratch Ticket Shop, and the Swap Shop. The Fresh Find Shop is a never-rotating cosmetic item shop. The AC Shop will allow you to use items such as the game's optional subscription or XP boosts, but you can't buy anything in the AC Shop or any shop until you go to the Xbox Shop or Windows Shop and buy yourself some art. The SG Shop gives you other bonuses such as extra storage or increased drop rate bonuses, but you can't use the SG Shop unless you buy yourself some SG, which is bought from the art you can buy in the Xbox Shop. The Scratch Ticket Shop is basically loot boxes from cosmetic items, while the Swap Shop... I'm alright. Another unique feature this game has is the ability to invite certain NPCs you've met to the party. They have the same kind of classes the player does, they level up with you, and will give you free items if you use them long enough. But you'll probably soon forget about them once you discover that you can do the same with other players' characters. That's right, you can invite simulated versions of other players. You can finally play an online game where you can be alone without actually being alone. Not only will these semi-competent bots follow you wherever you go, but this will also net you fun points that you can use to unlock items. Plus, if you're an introvert like me, you can avoid the social responsibilities of inviting random people and having to talk with them, because these bots are silent.
This is where the fun begins.
Oh, you just can't win, can you? Okay, who am I kidding? I think this feature is actually pretty awesome. Every player can set up an auto chat function in which you can have your character automatically say something whenever certain events trigger. And this works on whether you're actually playing your character or when someone is controlling the bot version of you. You also have the ability to set up your ARC ID, a MySpace of sorts within the game where players can show off their in-game contact information, as well as their interests, as well as a profile picture that can be drawn with a selection of in-game drawing tools. Which means yes, the internet will do what internet does best, and let's not go too deep into that. As shown before, the interface can get rather messy, but it can also be noisy.
Want to hear the most annoying sound in the world?
As far as the game's story,
Sorry, I can't remember too much.
You there! Arc's up! I can tell you're still getting your feet wet here, rookie. Lucky for you, I know my way around, and I'm willing to give you some tips.
You want a piece of me, Zeno? Bring it on! This should be a good fight.
I said calm down, Zeno. Come on, Malfoncina. Don't just stand there. Put a leash on that mad dog of yours. I'm afraid I don't know who you're talking about.
it's there, but a lot of the times that story is played as missions that you select from the game's central hub, where just a cutscene plays. There's little to no context of how your character actually got there, or what events transpired before it happened. Your character is just there, and when it ends, your character is right back where they were, almost like all your character did was go to the movies. Now, I actually did look into this as it was confusing to me, because I thought I was either missing something or wasn't doing something I was supposed to be doing. But it turns out the Japanese version used to have it where you would come across these things randomly out in the field. Apparently this was getting redundant and made players take too long to progress the story. This was later removed from the game and we got what we have now instead. But anyone who doesn't know that will still be confused, and there's no explanation of this anywhere, save for what the community has said in the forums. In fact, it's still a little confusing done this way, as they all still feel very disjointed. The English version of the game is behind in episodes of the story. We only have the first 3. Supposedly after that, some other kind of way to tell the story was implemented, so hopefully it won't be like this forever. But I digress. I honestly don't think anyone is playing this for the story.
Somebody help me!
I can't tell you how many times I had to drag myself away from this game in order to make this video. Every time I play it, I discover something else crazy. I'm not even that much of a role player, but once in a while I'll see a community enjoying themselves doing just that. It almost makes me want to jump in, and I love the game all the more for it. So those are my first thoughts on the game. If anyone knows what skills I can use for my subclass, let me know in the comments. If you liked the video, please give me that thumbs up. I'll see you in the next one. Now pardon me as I go back to— no! Oh, okay, fine! I won't go back, just let me go, please! No! Actually buy anything in the AC shop, but you can't buy anything in the AC shop or any shop you— The SG shop gives you other bonuses, such as an extra— The scratch ticket shop is basically loot boxes for cosmetic items, while the swap shop— Fuck.